Mr. Miliband, I'd like to ask you about a request from the Australian government, which has called for another G20 summit this year to be held potentially in Asia and possibly South Korea as the host country. The Prime Minister in Australia suggests that there needs to be the momentum kept up. Is there a need for a third summit, do you think, and would you support and attend such a gathering?
Well, our Prime Minister Gordon Brown and the Australian Prime Minister Kevin Rudd have been working very closely together on these issues. We're absolutely at one with Prime Minister Rudd about the need for effective implementation and follow-up to any decisions that are taken on April the 2nd. Because as well as a very clear set of decisions, we need to make sure that the world puts them into practice. I think one of the things that Prime Minister Rudd has been stressing is that over the last 20 years, economics has gone global, but politics hasn't caught up. And the G20 summit represents an opportunity for the world to come together to try to take collective decisions about some vital economic issues, not just the financial regulation, but also the wider trade and development issues. And I very much hope, and we very much hope, that there will be effective follow-up. The precise form of the follow-up has to be discussed and agreed amongst the leaders, but I think that the determination of Prime Minister Rudd to make sure that the momentum isn't lost is absolutely right.
And so, will it happen, do you think?
Well, I think that the G20 leaders have to have their own discussion about that. But it's absolutely clear from the position of the British government that we're strongly supportive of the Australian determination, and I think a determination shared around the world, to make sure that this isn't a one-day wonder. It's got to be a process that delivers real results right across the world, obviously especially for those in the poorest countries. But actually this is a global problem and it needs a global solution, and the UK certainly wants to be part of the follow-up.
The other obviously important issue is that the resources of the International Monetary Fund are critically important to this whole period. Alistair Darling has agreed that the IMF needs a substantial boost, and the Australian government has suggested that it should be doubled. Could you be a little bit more specific about Britain's view on this?
Well, I think it's very important that we increase the resources of the International Monetary Fund, as Alistair Darling said, and we also look at innovative ways for the IMF to make a contribution. The truth is that the economy has changed globally, and global institutions have got to make sure that they're up to the task of playing an appropriate role. I think that the depth of the current recession right around the world means that we do need the IMF armed with greater resources. The discussions are going on at the moment among the G20 countries about how big a change, but it clearly needs to be a big change, because this is a unique global crisis and it's going to need a coordinated response with the IMF at the heart of it. I think the Australian proposals are important, and that's why there are discussions going on about them and related issues at the official level in preparation for the summit itself.